I'm taking that as a no. So, all right. So I want to honestly, very honestly, thank you all for coming today. I love teaching. I love teaching about Marvel. I love teaching about pop culture and Black feminism and Blackness and joy and all of these things. And it has been entirely too long since I've done it. So I'm really excited to have had this opportunity to come with you all to celebrate the life of Dr. King, but to also have some really real conversations about how we can maintain our joy. Now and for as long as we need to, because I think that we can recognize it is on us to maintain our joy, to protect our peace. And so I want to talk about how we can do that while also bringing in some absolute pop culture things, because we are in a moment, right? We're moving into a space where we have finally, after almost 6 years, our first Captain America who is Black. And notice I very clearly did not say our first Black super soldier, but our first Black Captain America. And his film comes out next month, February 14th, Black History Month, Valentine's Day, whatever you want to call it. But we have that finally. And so I think that this is a space and a time where this is a conversation that we should be having. And so it is my honor, because you know Captain America is my favorite. So it's my honor to have this conversation about a lot of the nuances around Captain America, around Sam Wilson, around super serum. I could go on all day. I've taught a specific class on the implications and the ethics of super soldier serum. I could do this all day, pun fully intended. So, all right. So what this class is, in this class, we are going to be looking at the urgency of retaining Black joy and what that looks like through Black art. So we are going to be traveling through Janelle Monáe's Dirty Computer album and some other songs of hers. We're going to be looking at MCU films and comics and one of the MCU television shows. If you have been a part of my educational and professional journey for any amount of time, you know that Janelle Monáe was one of my earliest research topics. I have published a framework on how to care for Black women in higher education using Dirty Computer as a framework. So this is not something that I have just stumbled in. I've been doing this work for the last 5-6 years now. So it's really something that I want us to apply to our lives, not just now, but as we move forward, because I think that there is healing and there is a lot of revolution in the things that we enjoy as art that doesn't have to take away from our enjoyment and our escape in the art form that they are. So what this class is, talking about the urgency of Black joy, especially now, finding that joy in the artists and the art that would elevate us as we are today. What this class is not, there are so many nuances and options and opinions around the MCU and the comics and Janelle Monáe. I am not trying to be all things to all people. This is, though I have researched, though it's been peer reviewed, I am still just one person. I am still just one person. I am still one person who is giving you what I see as connections in these. And I cannot go over all of the nuances of Steve Rogers, Bucky Barnes, The Red Guardian, Sam Wilson, Isaiah Bradley, Janelle Monáe, Erykah Badu. I cannot. I mean, I could, but we don't have enough time for that. So I really can't do all that. So today we are getting a snippet of what I think is meaningful for this specific conversation that we're having today. So if you are like, well, you didn't talk about Captain America issue 17 from March 1976, I don't know what to tell you. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. If you want to react, I should have said this in housekeeping. I'm asking that you keep yourselves on mute for now, but if you want to throw up a little reaction in your little video, window, that'd be great. I would love to see those. Or you can drop things in the chat as well. I do want this to be a conversation, but I do want to get through kind of the meat of it before we have that kickback at the end. So we've talked about what this class is. We've talked about what this class is not. And now who am I? So many of you know me, many of you have had lengthy conversations with me about many of these topics. but I am not just a Marvel fan. I am a Marvel fan. I've got the knowledge, I've got the tattoos. I'm covered in Marvel merch quite literally on my person. So I am a huge Marvel fan. But I'm not just a nerd. Like, I've got a bunch of degrees, so I'm definitely a nerd. I've got a bunch of merch, so I'm definitely a fan. Like, I'm looking at a Loki right here. They're everywhere. It's everywhere. So I've got this stuff, right? But I am a Black woman and I'm an educator. So I'm all of these things and more. And I like to say that I use my powers for good and trying to make sure that when we enjoy our art, our music, our films, our TV, our books, that we are using them for the escape that they are, but that we are also finding ways to relate them to our lives. I take the boring part of it for you. I like to research them academically so that you don't have to, because I really get a kick out of that. But I like to make them accessible. I like to make the lessons in these things accessible. I like to make them make sense so that lots of people have told me that, like, I've learned so much about these films from the way that you watch them. Many Marvel films, most of them I've seen 3 or more times, and 3 is being completely generous. Like, that's on the low end of the spectrum. But the minimum of that is I watch it as a fan, I watch it to study it, and then I watch them to put it all together. Many of them I've seen upwards of 20 times. They never get old for me because I'm always learning something new. And I do that with a lot of media that I consume, with music, with books, with movies, comics, things like that. So I like to dissect them, to research them, and to share that knowledge in ways that can help you find your place in this larger universe, and to make it make sense for you. Because I think that there are so many things that we could all learn. We can all learn who we are or where we stand from the X-Men. We can all learn about representation from Wanda Maximoff. We can all learn about little Black girls who decide they want to go into STEM and space from Riri Williams or from Monica Rambeau. There are lots of places that we can see and point to. And sometimes the comics, the books, the movies give us that push to believe in the extraordinary. One of the reasons I named my company E616 Consulting is because Earth 616 is a major kind of foundational point in Marvel Comics. But one thing I love about Marvel Comics is that everybody in Marvel is just a normal person who has been hit with an extraordinary circumstance. And I think that all of us have that space to find that one spark. And I love the fact that the work that I do could be seen as that spark for someone, to remind them that they are in fact extraordinary, that you don't need super soldier serum, that you don't need to be a god from Asgard, but you are extraordinary because of who you are. And I want to be a part of making sure that we all know that. So that is the super duper nerdy breakdown version of who Liz is. But more than that, I'm a Black woman, I'm a Black feminist, a Black womanist. And so we get down to it. All right. So let us begin. So Janelle Monáe, Dirty Computer, the record is back here. I love Janelle. I have seen her live several times. Love Janelle. I love the work that she has done. I've been a fan of her since the ArchAndroid 15 years ago. Janelle Monáe, if you have followed her career at all, you know that when she started, she came out as the android. Everything about her was behind this facade of an android. And it was all storytelling. Her entire album was a full overture, a full story that went across 2 albums about an android who fell in love with a human. And that was taboo. It was frowned upon. And so it was all her story of how she existed in a world where love was taboo. When Dirty Computer came out in 2018, it was the first time that we saw Janelle as Janelle Monáe Robinson and not the android. Also note, Janelle uses she, they pronouns, so to be clear. But that was something that she made sure to do, that made sure she was coming out and telling us exactly who she was. That was the first time that we got to see Janelle Monáe as the human. and not the android and not someone who was standing behind a story, right? And so she said, when asked about that, she said, "This is the first time I have felt threatened and unsafe as a young Black woman growing up in America. This is the first time that I released something with a lot of emotion. I don't want to stay angry, but I want to write and feel triumphant," is what she said. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. She said, "I want to write and feel triumphant." And so if you are looking at her discography, Android, 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 and then all of a sudden, Dirty Computer, it's all stripped away, and it's Blackness, it's Black feminism, it's I don't want to be left out, I don't want to die on my knees, I just want to live the truth. It's these things that she is saying. And so we're going to take that album to go through the existence of Sam Wilson and how he grew to embody being Captain America. So Janelle Monáe broke down the Dirty Computer album into 3 sections. The first section was Reckoning, the second was Celebration, and the third was Reclamation. And it is these 3 breakdowns, these 3 chapters, if you will, that we are going to use to honor our discussion today. So we're going to start with Reckoning. I'm going to define them. I'm going to talk about it. We're going to talk about celebration. Then we're going to talk about reclamation. And I want you to see the parallels, not just in Dirty Computer and in Sam Wilson, but in your own life and where we are and how we use reckoning, celebration, and reclamation to reclaim our Black joy. How we use it to reclaim where we are, to maintain who we are, and to make sure that we don't lose ourselves in this space where everything seems just kind of suffocated, right? Where it seems like, how are we supposed to find a place to be ourselves when shit's really rough right now? These are where we're going to find these spaces of reckoning, of celebration, of reclamation. And so that's what I'm here to help us with. So starting with reckoning. A reckoning is a settling of accounts. A reckoning is coming to terms with who we are. Not just who we are, but what's going on around us, who other people are. Because I think that a lot of us have found in the last few years just who the fuck some of these people are, who they really are, who we thought was on our team, but who isn't really. I think that we have started to see who some people are, which has also caused us to look at who we are and who we might be in a space where we recognize what's going on. So a reckoning is a settling of accounts. And the first part of Janelle Monáe's album was her reckoning with who she is, what she needs, and what it means to live in America. What it means to live in America in a place where, sorry, Bernie distracted me. What it is to live in America, what it is to live in a place where we were born here, we were raised here, we have just as much right to this country as everybody else, but they playing in our faces. And that's not just for Black women. It's not just for queer folk. It's for all marginalized people who have lived here for any amount of time, who deserve the unalienable rights that we were promised, right? Reckoning with the fact that, yeah, we're here, but it may not be what it's supposed to be, what they told us it would be. So here we are reckoning with that. And I think that that is a common struggle that many of us in marginalized communities have, though the struggle is not the same. I think that that is a foundational space of understanding that shit's fucked up, essentially. And that we are in this space where things kind of don't make sense and they never have, but reckoning with that, settling up with the fact that, yeah, it doesn't make sense right now, gives you a good jumping off point from which to actually move forward and to find your joy and to find your work. When you are no longer living in the delusion that things are right or fair or the way they should be, you can start to move forward. And so when we reckon with that, we look at just who is Sam Wilson. This is where we first met Sam Wilson. This is the iconic introduction of On Your Left. This is where we meet Sam Wilson, who is just a Black man. He is a social worker. He is an Army veteran. He is, or an Air Force veteran, rather. He worked in the military and left after his partner was shot down. And he is now a social worker leading focus groups down at the VA. He is just a Black man living his life, trying to give back, trying to do the right thing. And here comes Steve Rogers running by, also minding his own business, but they struck up a friendship. Now, side note, this is not peer reviewed. This is not anything. I wish Sam would have minded his own business and let white folk handle white folk problems, but that's not Sam. As you will see in some of the clips that we are sharing here, that is not Sam. Sam wants to help everybody. And I can understand that struggle as a social worker. But one thing that we have to learn in this season of reckoning is that you got to fight your own battles and let other people fight their battles. Okay? Because they will pull you into their nonsense. And they have a lot more covering, a lot more privilege than we have. And then we end up looking crazy because we're like, but you just did the same thing for them. What about me? One thing that I want you to take away from this in terms of guarding your peace when the dream feels like a nightmare is to fight your own battles. Pick your battles and make sure the ones that you are fighting are yours. I didn't say make sure they're battles you can win. I want you to make sure the battles you're fighting are yours. Stop fighting other people's battles. These are the times that we let people lay in the beds that they have made. I am a firm believer in that. These are the times where we let people lay in the beds that they have made. So part of this reckoning is realizing and understanding that we are who we are, and we need to be all of who we can be to ourselves and those who depend on us only. Stop fighting other people's battles. That's how you end up caught up with Captain America. That's how you end up a fugitive of the law when all you had to do was go lead your support group at the VA. That's how that happens. In other folk business, worrying about other folk problems. All he had to do was keep running his laps and call it a day. But that's not peer reviewed. That's just me saying to you, mind your own business. Because these are the times where we what? Let people lay in the beds that they have made. So Sam Wilson, social worker, works at the VA, was running, trying to keep himself in shape, met Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers came to visit him at the VA during one of his support groups, saw how intense it was, realized that there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. It's a lot of work being whole, like Tony K. Bambara said. Being whole is a lot of work. And those people were there doing their work. When Steve Rogers and Natasha Romanoff got in trouble, the first person they went to was Sam Wilson. They were fugitives. People were gunning for them. They showed up at Sam Wilson's house. I don't even know how they got his address, but that's what Sam gets for not minding his business. Do we see a pattern here? Now Sam is a fugitive from the law. He ended up getting to be an Avenger later, but all he was doing was drinking his orange juice after his run, and now he is caught up. So the means to the end, I'm not sure if it mattered, but mind your own business. Take that from me. Let that be my gift to you, is that you take this permission to worry about yourself in these times. So, reckoning. Sam did all this to help Captain America, and then when Captain America left in Endgame, which we will talk about, Sam was out here by himself. Sam was given the shield of Captain America, the title of Captain America, by Steve Rogers. But it wasn't all easy. You would imagine that Sam meeting Steve, becoming an Avenger, and then getting the shield was his own little form of reckoning, celebration, and reclamation, but that was just the beginning. So we're going to find out a lot about who Sam Wilson is. You might think that it is over. Like, you might think that you have done all you need to do. You may think you have gone through your reckoning, your celebration, and your reclamation. Honey, you might just be getting started. You might just be getting started. This is a cycle that continues for us often when it comes to maintaining our joy. So Isaiah Bradley is the first Black super soldier. You will get to hear from his own words what happened. So we know that Steve Rogers was the first super soldier. We know that. I love Steve. He's my favorite. We know that. But you will get to hear from the words of a man who felt it, who went through it. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about that soon. So here is Isaiah in his own words.
Is that what I think it is? Leave it covered. Those stars and stripes don't mean nothing good to me.
I need to understand.
You understand. Every black man does. Whether you want to deny it or not.
Don't do that bitter old man thing with me.
If you ain't bitter, you're blind.
I don't get it, okay? What went wrong? But you were a super soldier like Steve. You could have been the next.
The next? What? Huh? Blonde hair, blue eyes, stars and stripes. The entire world's been chasing that great white hope since he first got dosed with that serum.
Steve did not put you in jail.
You wanted to know what went wrong? A handful of us got shot up with different versions of that serum. But they don't tell us what it is. They tell us it's tetanus. They sent us on missions, even though the others weren't stable. Some of us started dying off. Then a couple of the boys get captured on a mission. I heard the brass talking about blowing the POW camp to hell to hide the evidence. But those are my men, my brothers, not evidence. So I bust out of the facility one night, and I brought them boys back. Not that it made a damn bit of difference. It wasn't long before it was only me left. And what did I get for saving their lives? For the next 30 years, they experimented on me, trying to figure out why the serum worked.
But the world's different now. I know people.
Man, that's why you're here. You think things are different? You think times are different? You think I wouldn't be dead in a day if you brought me out? You want to believe jail was my fault because you got that white man's shield? Pledge allegiance to that, my brother. They will never let a black man be Captain America. And even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be.
If you have not watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it is a magnificent series that talks about not just Sam's journey to becoming Captain America, but a lot of the complexities of being Black in America. The showrunner was Black. He worked with Anthony Mackie a lot on the script and everything else. So it's a very, very, very good show. It's a tough watch, but it's a great show. But if you know anything about Captain America, the first Avenger, you may notice some similarities in Isaiah's story. If you recall, before Steve was an actual military captain, when he was simply a dancer, they called him a showgirl. He's not a showgirl, but when he was a performer, he heard that they were going to leave Bucky and everybody else behind enemy lines. So if you remember that part, just so I can make sure y'all are still with me, put something in the chat so I can see. But He heard they were going to leave Bucky and everybody else behind enemy lines. He went, saved them, became a hero, came back, right? And now he's Captain America. He's everybody. Isaiah, same thing. They put him in jail. Now, in the comics, which I rarely do a crossover like this, but this is such an important story. In the comics, Isaiah did this, and they gave him 17 years in prison for stealing the Captain America uniform. Not for disobeying, but for wearing the uniform without permission. If that doesn't tell you about the care of upkeep and appearances in America, I don't know what will. But there's a line in the first song of Dirty Computer where Janelle says, me and you was friends, but to them, we the opposite. The same mistake, I'm in jail, you on top of shit. You live in life while I'm walking around mopping shit. If that is not a clear recollection of what we see here and what we have heard from Isaiah, Steve literally broke behind enemy lines, stole a performer's helmet to do it. Stole a plane, stole a pilot, stole all this stuff to save those men. And he was a hero. Isaiah did it and he was a criminal. How many times does that happen in America? How many times does that happen? When we reckon with what that means for us as marginalized people, as queer people, as disabled people, as Black people, as women, as folks of marginalized genders, when we reckon with what that means, that is the starting point of true change and celebration. Until we reckon with the fact that this is just not a fair country, we cannot move forward because we will stay in the delusion, like Sam, of I know people, I can make a call, somebody's going to help me. We can't always do that. His biggest ally was Steve, and Steve is gone. So now Sam's just another Black man out here like Isaiah and the rest of them. And nowhere is that juxtaposition so clear as it is in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There is a scene where Bucky and Sam are walking down the street and they are arguing with each other. They're not even fighting. They're just having a heated discussion, and the police come and pull them over and separate Sam and ask Bucky if he's okay. They don't care that Sam is Captain America because he's in plain clothes at that point. They don't care that he's an Avenger. They don't care that Bucky in that moment is the fugitive. Bucky's the one who's on the run from the law. They asking Bucky if he's okay. That show was such a hard watch, but it is such a necessary reckoning, because if we don't realize that we are already starting from behind the starting line, we're going to have a hard time finding that joy. Because you're always going to be wondering, what is it about me? What did I do wrong? Why can't they see me? It's not you, baby. It's them. And we have to reckon with the fact that this is not a fair country. We have to reckon with the fact that it's not about us, that the systems are doing exactly what they were set out to do, and it wasn't to benefit us. That reckoning is so important. Realizing, like Janelle said, the same mistake, I'm in jail and you on top of shit. We can't do everything that they do. We just can't. We don't have that same grace. We just don't have it. And it's urgent that we understand that and live in that and notice that. And that was something so important in Dr. King's messages. He wasn't saying that we should completely roll over and let them do whatever they're going to do, but we have to understand that the unfairness that we are experiencing is not our fault. It's theirs. In his letter from Birmingham jail, he was saying to his clergymen, I'm disappointed because you all are my friends. You white clergymen are my friends. You are my brethren, or so you say, but I don't see you standing up for me, using your privilege for good. Once we realize that we are already behind the starting line and then we got some different obstacles based on what sort of marginalization we are a part of, then we can actually take an honest look at what it's going to take to get us where we need to be. But until we reckon with that, in that reckoning, you're at a disadvantage, because you're going to think that what is happening to you is your fault. No, this wasn't built for us. Like Isaiah told Sam, you want to think that going to jail was my fault because you have that white man's shield. Sam was like, I can make the call. I'm Captain America. Sir, you are not. You are not. Your one ally gave you that shield, and the country in the first episode took it from him. In the first episode of this show, they took it from him. Let's take it outside of the films for a little bit. Steve gave Sam that shield in April of 2019. February of 2025 is when we are finally getting his movie. 6 years. We had a whole Captain America trilogy in 4 with Steve Rogers. But we had to wait 6 years to get one movie with the Black Captain America. This is why I get frustrated when people are like, comic book movies don't really mean anything. They do. We had a whole Steve Rogers trilogy in 4 years. We had to wait 6 to get one Sam movie. I love Marvel, but they own some nonsense with that. They own some real nonsense, and they know it too. But reckoning is where we have to understand where we are to then move forward so that we can get to the celebration, baby. We can get to the celebration. Celebration, celebration, celebration. Marking one's pleasure at an important event by engaging in enjoyable activity. We deserve that. And if it's one thing I know about Black folk, we will find that joy in any place. That's why Black Twitter exists. That's why we all love Black Twitter. That's why we love TikTok. We gonna laugh. We gonna have a good time no matter what's going on. We are going to celebrate. We're going to have that space. We're going to find that joy. Janelle Monáe came out with this album in April of 2018. Does anybody remember what happened in February of 2018? Black Panther premiered. Joy, unlike anything else we've ever felt. Wakanda Forever, joy, mourning. We mourn together, but we found that space together. Celebration. No matter who you are, find the space to celebrate. It's so urgent that we do that. It's so important that we find the space to celebrate. Dr. King, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Now, I know you are saying, Liz, it doesn't seem like a celebration, like controversy, challenge, but that's what I'm saying to you. We gonna have fun. Black folk gonna have joy. Folks of marginalized communities are so used to, once we have reckoned with the fact that shit is rough, we find a way to flourish in that space. You think of a second line in New Orleans. Think of how beautiful that celebration is in a time of mourning, right? There's always challenge. One thing about Black folk, one thing about marginalized communities is that we know that there's always challenge and controversy somewhere along the way. But it is in that strength that we are able to survive. Black Twitter, TikTok, like I said earlier, we understand that laughter in community can bring us through all manner of difficulty. We never stop dancing. We never stop singing. We never stop laughing. We never stop loving. And so what I want you to do is that this goes back to letting them fight their own battles. What I want you to do, if you are taking notes, Dr. King said, where we stand in moments of challenge and controversy, let them feel the challenge and controversy this time. We live in challenge and controversy. We understand it. We find comfort and convenience through community. Oh, alliteration. Well, we find comfort and convenience through community during times of challenge and controversy. What I want you to do now in terms of letting them live in the bed that they made is let them feel that challenge and controversy. They did this. Let them feel that challenge and controversy. Let them feel it. And let us continue to bask in community. Let us continue to bask in the comfort and convenience of the communities that we have cultivated for ourselves. Let us continue to find those spaces of joy, of happiness, of peace, of laughter, of love. Let us keep caring for each other. Let us keep laughing, dancing, loving. We have never stopped dancing. We have never stopped singing. We have never stopped loving, and we're not going to stop now. We are not going to wring our hands. We are not going to go out and have great weeping and gnashing of teeth in the street. That's on them now. We did our part, and now we take care of ourselves. We mind our business. That is the greatest celebration. We reckon with the fact that the shit's unfair, that it's always been unfair because the system is designed to do what the system is designed to do. And then we celebrate each other in that. We celebrate each other because we deserve that. If nobody else will, then we will. We celebrate community because I believe it is solely in that connection that we keep each other alive. It is solely in that connection that we don't lose what keeps us going. There's a reason I wore my Alabama Slammer earrings today, my folding chair earrings, because we find our space to enjoy each other, to protect each other, to laugh, even when everybody else thinks they have us down. And they don't. They don't. We have community. That's our superpower. If I had to guess, if I had to give us one, our superpower would be the community of the marginalized. But one thing we have to do is realize that as marginalized people, we are more alike than we are different. And that is not a kumbaya moment. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that this country don't care about none of us. We have to realize that and understand that we are better together than we are apart. So the celebration in that is understanding that community is what we cultivate, not what they give us. Community is what we create and not what is given to us. Janelle, this is one of my favorite songs. I rap this verse so hard in Django Jane, but this is for my Black girls. Black girl magic, y'all can't stand it. Y'all can't ban it. Made out like a bandit. They have been trying hard just to make us all vanish. I suggest they put our flag on a whole nother planet. First time I heard that line, I cried real hard. Because honey, this song is everything about Black women. This is the centerpiece of her celebration part of the album. That song, Django Jane, is the centerpiece. And she is just extolling the virtues of being a Black woman and living in that space and loving herself and loving each other in that space. It is magnificent. The opening line of the song is, yeah, this is my palace, champagne in my chalice. You have come into her space. As we celebrate today and every day from now on, as we celebrate that community, I want you to remember that you are inviting people into your space. While letting them lay in the beds that they make, protect your peace. If they come in with the bullshit, they don't have to stay. I don't care who it is. Family, friends, your child, I don't care. If they coming in with the foolishness, they leave. We are grabbing on to joy in any way we can. We are reckoning with the fact that shit is hard. We are celebrating community and the sanctity of peace. And anybody who was coming to mess with that can go. Anybody who was coming to mess with that can get out of here and go. I mean that. They have tried to ban our joy. They have tried to ban everything that makes us who we are, and they can't. And they won't, because community stands before all of that. That is the celebration. That is where we're at. And so we talk about, we're going back to Sam. We're going back to Sam. Sam was given the shield, again, how many years ago? What does that say, 2019? 6 years ago. I just need to let that sink in for a second for y'all. Because like Shayla said, she didn't do the math until before. 6 years ago, we gave this Black man the shield. 6 years ago. Captain America, the First Avenger was where Steve got his shield, and they covered that plus 70 years in an hour and a half. But 6 years ago, Sam Wilson just been holding on to this shield. Might as well be a paperweight. Who cares? 6 years ago. It's easy to think that that's part of the celebration, right? He got the shield, let's celebrate. And we did, right? We have a Black Captain America. This is so great. Oh my God, justice delayed is justice denied. Might as well be. Because we have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And every episode, every season of What If has given us Captain Carter. They reached into stories that we don't even care about to give us Captain Carter. And then they put her in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Anything to avoid giving us the Black Captain America we should have had years ago. We done had all kinds of stuff. Captain Carter got chopped in half and came back in What If. Like they was really holding on to that, to not give us a Black Captain America. So you would think that the celebration happened already. I want you to recognize that just because someone gives you something, just because someone from a dominant community gives you something, do not stop celebrating there. There is still much to be done to recognize what you've gotten from them. You would think that the actual man who the shield belongs to, giving it to you and saying, this is yours, would be enough. You would think. It's not. The government in the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier actually said to Sam, thanks for doing the right thing. He handed it over so that they could not just leave it to him, but put it in a museum exhibit honoring Steve. Not a replica. They could have taken a replica and done that. No. They took it to put it in a case so that he couldn't have it. Ain't that some shit? Like you would imagine that the celebration is in the receipt of it all. No. There is always someone out there to remind you, I gave and I can take away. To that, I say, go to hell. We have our community. We deserve our community, and we will protect our community. That celebration is one of the only ways that we can maintain the joy that we have earned, that we are clawing for in this time, is to maintain your community in a way that makes sense for you. Maintain your community because they are out here showing us I can give it and I can take it. I can take it and I can give it back. Okay? So listen, community is not just the receipt of something. Celebration is not just the receipt of it. It is, let us make sure that we are holding on to what is ours. And in this moment, joy is ours. Hold on to that joy. Don't let them take it from you because you didn't give it to me and you can't take it from me. All this other stuff, we can deal with. If you want to feel like you big and you bad, and you take it from me, that's fine. But my joy, my community, you can't take those. Don't let them. Don't let them take it. Let them lay in the bed that they've created, and don't let them make you feel bad for saying it's above me now. Don't let them make you feel bad for resting in your community and saying, y'all got it. Y'all got it. Similarly, don't let them feel bad for saying, no, this is mine. I want it back. Don't let them make you feel bad for holding on to what is yours. Never, 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 never let someone make you feel bad for what you have earned, for what you have been given. Don't let them do that to you because they don't know how to act. Mediocrity will always cower in the face of greatness. So this time, let them flounder on their own. Let them flounder on their own. You know you are worth so much. That's what community does. Community reminds us that we are worth so much. Community is that mirror that lets us see that we are a part of something greater. So I'm not saying to just ignore everything, I'm saying ignore a large part of it because that's on them. But be aware, but also reckon with the fact that it's happening. Celebrate your own joy. This song of Janelle's is not on Dirty Computer. It's a standalone song. This song came from an Amazon Prime movie that she did. This song is called Turntables. This is the highest point of laying the beds that they made. It's a boomerang banging, booming back. You lay the egg. Now it's about to hatch. You gaslight. You about to meet your match. You fuck up the kitchen, then you should do the dishes. Celebration. Let them have it. If you have not listened to this song, Turntables, I highly recommend that you give it a listen. It is a joyous song. It's just a really magnificent song that goes into what it is to be like, hey, the table's about to turn. Y'all did this. So the table's about to turn. Hands off. I'm done. So absolutely give this song a listen. Like I said, it's not on Dirty Computer, but it's such an important song that I couldn't leave it alone. I couldn't let it not be spoken for. So, all right, reclamation. Here we go. We are bringing this thing on down. So the third part of Dirty Computer, we've reckoned with the fact that shit's not fair. We've celebrated our community through pleasure in all things that make us happy, and we are reclaiming. Reclamation, the process of claiming something back. So we are not just celebrating our community. We are not just celebrating what we have, but we are reclaiming that which is ours. We are reclaiming our joy. We are reclaiming our time. We are reclaiming our peace. We are reclaiming that which is ours because we fucking deserve it. We deserve to reclaim those things that are ours. No one gets to hold us in their hand. No one gets to hold that fire in us in their hand and say, oh, well, it's not enough. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. Reclaim your joy, reclaim your peace, reclaim your time. The process of claiming something back. And true to form, we get to reclaim our land in this. We built this country. Black folk, I'm talking to us. We built this country. It's never truly been our home. But for those of us who were born here, we have just as much claim to it as anybody else. Reclaim it. But not too much. Because, you know, they get to fuck up the kitchen and do the dishes. So we get to sit back for a little bit. But you get to reclaim your joy, reclaim your time. At the end, the very last song of Dirty Computer is called Americans. The first time I heard this song, I cried. When I saw her sing it live, I sobbed. But it says, just love me, baby. Love me for who I am. And fallen angels are singing, clap your hands. Don't try to take my country. I will defend my land. I'm not crazy, baby. No, I'm American. We have as much right to say what needs to be said in this country and about this country as anybody else. I love that James Baldwin quote where he says, I love America so much. And because I love her, I reserve the right to criticize her. And I feel that. Like, I love this country. I don't recognize her right now, but I love this country. And she deserves to be criticized because she's on some wild shit right now. But reclamation means reclaiming your space, reclaiming your time, reclaiming your joy in this. We have reckoned with the fact that it's not fair. We have celebrated our community, celebrated our joy, and now we get to stand 10 toes down on business and reclaim the fact that we deserve to be here. They don't get to take it from us. They don't get to decide that we don't belong here because they don't want us here. No, that sounds like a you problem. That sounds like a personal problem. And these same people who will sit here on today and quote Dr. King are going to play in your faces tomorrow like they have not been doing that for the last few years. No, no, no. Reclaim your space, reclaim your joy, reclaim your country, reclaim your citizenship. All of this belongs to us. Reclaim it. We're not crazy. We're Americans, just like they are. I'm not saying there's not going to be some tough times coming ahead, but I think that a part of keeping ourselves together is to reckon, celebrate, and reclaim. And it is a cycle that we will continue to cycle through. We will continue to reckon with the fact that, man, this shit sucks. We'll celebrate our community, and then we will reclaim our space, our joy, our time. Reckon, this sucks. Celebrate, let me turn to my community and talk about it. Reclaim, okay, I'm good, let's keep going. Cycle, cycle, cycle. This album is a perfect example of that, because through it all, through the reckoning, through the celebration, through the reclamation, there is singing, there is joy, there is happiness. There is not one sad song on this album. I want you to notice that. There is not one sad song on this album. Everything is beautiful in its creation and its understanding of who she is, who they are as a person. So we've talked about Janelle now. We've talked about Dr. King. We've talked about James Baldwin. Let's bring it back to Sam. So now, who is Sam Wilson? This is Captain America. So much so that even in the show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, at the end of the last episode, they erased the Falcon and changed the name of the show to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. This show was an exposition of his journey to not just taking the shield because it was given to him, but earning the shield. Now, I think it's bullshit that he had to earn it. I ain't gonna lie to you. But here we are. Steve Rogers didn't have to earn it. Steve Rogers got a couple of shots of the blue juice and boom, he's Captain America. Sam Wilson had to earn it. But you know what? There's always a little bit of extra stuff they make us do on the side. So once I reckoned with that, I was able to celebrate the fact that we have a Black Captain America and we move on. It happens to me too. So now Sam Wilson is Captain America. Now that he understands, yes, Shayla, twice as hard. Now that he understands that it is not just the shield, that it's more than the shield, that it is the people who came before him, that it is Isaiah, that it is Isaiah's grandson, Elijah. Now that he understands what is behind the stars and stripes, what it means to wear the stars and stripes, what it means to make it his own and not just put on Steve's uniform or wear Steve's shield. Now he can stand in what it means to be Captain America as a Black man. That's very different than being Captain America as a white man in 1940. Being Captain America as a Black man in 2021 is very different. Sam was still under the impression that Steve was the epitome of greatness. That Steve, all you need to do is be good and you could be Captain America. Sam did not want to really recognize the fact that, like Shayla said, you gotta be twice as good. And there's a lot of understanding that needed to happen for Sam to get there. Sam had not done his reckoning or his celebration. Sam was still out here thinking, I'm Captain America, I can do what I want. You can't, baby. You can't. There was a scene in Falcon and the Winter Soldier where Sam was trying to get a bank loan to save his family's business and could not. Talk about the juxtaposition of being an Avenger and being Captain America, saving the country, saving the world, putting your life on the line. These people can't give you money for a bank loan to save your family's business. But you know what the banker did seconds later? Asked him for a selfie. They consistently play in our faces. And so it is time to reclaim what belongs to us. Sam Wilson has just as much right to be Captain America as anyone else. As a matter of fact, he was given the shield by Captain America. So while that might not amount to a hill of beans to a lot of people, Steve Rogers was a good man. When they took the shield, when the government took the shield and gave it to the white man that they wanted to have it, he was all kinds of immoral, all kinds of terrible, all kinds of terrible. all kinds of terrible. Like he was a genuinely awful person. But that's not a surprise to us, is it? No. Twice as hard to get half of what they get. So it doesn't shock us at all that the person who they chose to be Captain America was just a really terrible person. So Sam Wilson now understands what it means to be Captain America. And so now we have a very different discussion with Isaiah than the one that started this entire thing.
What you want, Black Falcon?
You need to learn some manners.
He ain't a Falcon anymore, but he's still black. I saw what you did out there. And seems so did everyone else. I heard the GRC was standing down on those plans of theirs, so you must have done something right. I ain't gonna lie. You're special.
Thank you.
I mean, you ain't no Malcolm or Martin, Mandela, but...
No argument there, but I know what I've got to do.
So, a black Captain America, huh?
Damn right.
The fight you taking on ain't gonna be easy, Sam.
Yeah, I might fail. Shit, I might die. But we built this country. Bled for it. I'm not gonna let anybody tell me I can't fight for it. Not after what everybody before me went through, including you.
Shit. I almost bought that.
Man, do you ever lighten up?
Nope.
Hey, why don't you clean up? There's something I want to show you.
So, where we going?
Now they'll never forget what you did for this country. Never.
I don't think that Sam would have been as effective of a Captain America if he had not gone through the phases of reckoning, of celebrating, and then reclaiming. He had to find that space where he understood Isaiah, celebrated who he was as Captain America, and then went back and reclaimed it. Think of the first conversation that he had with Isaiah. Steve didn't put you in jail. I know people. I can make a call. Don't do that bitter old man shit with me. He was talking real reckless to Isaiah without really understanding the sacrifice that he had put through. And he couldn't understand it just by hearing it from Isaiah. He had to live it. He had to see that the world really didn't give a damn about him and really didn't want a Black Captain America before he bust through that window and was like, I'm Captain America. He had to really reckon with the fact that being given something is not enough, but you have to be twice as good to get it, to earn it, to keep it in this country. See, had he just realized, oh, this country is unfair, oh no, they won't give me what I want, then that would have stopped his transformation. But once he reckoned with the fact that shit wasn't fair, he was able to celebrate that which made him who he was and celebrate those who came before him. And then he was able to reclaim it and say, no, this is for me, this is mine. Steve gave me this, I earned this, I deserve this, and you can go to hell. There is so much to be said for that process of reckoning, of celebrating, and then of reclaiming that we cannot skip. We can't skip steps. If you skip those steps, that's how you fall into a pit of despair. If you reckon with the fact that shit's not fair and stop there, you will stay in distress. If you reckon with the fact that shit's not fair and then you celebrate community and don't do anything to reclaim it, you will become a recluse. You will stay in the community and just stay there because I have everything I need right here and I don't need to go anywhere. But if you reckon with the fact that shit's not fair and then you celebrate your community and then you step out and reclaim your time, your peace, your joy, your rights, then you cooking. Because you have done the work to build the foundation to get to where you want to be, to stand in the face of all this nonsense. But it's got to be all three parts. It's got to be a full cycle. You can do it as many times as you need to. I do this multiple times a day. I reckon with the fact that there's some bullshit afoot. I celebrate the fact that I've got community and that shit's great. And then I step up and I'm like, no, you can't do me like that. Daily, I have to go through this cycle. Sometimes in the place where you would imagine there would be less of having to do that. Don't ever put your guard down when you're dealing with the dominant group, ever. You may have to go through this cycle of reckoning, celebration, and reclamation multiple times a day, multiple times a week. But you got this. You can do this. Because you have that community that you'll be celebrating. Pictures we can hear. Tell me in the chat, what are we saying in this picture? I know you can hear it. Reclaiming my time. Yes. Reclaiming my time. Pictures you can hear. Pictures you can hear. Say it as many times as you need to. I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time. You see, Auntie Maxine wasn't bothered in the least. They kept trying to talk over her, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time. Repeat it to yourself, to them, to whoever needs to hear it. I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time. Now, again, you have to go through the steps. Do not just reclaim your time without reckoning the fact that there's bullshit afoot and celebrating your community, because it is not always easy to reclaim your joy. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's scary to stand up before those who have tried to take things from you and say, you can't do this. I am the first to tell you that sometimes it's hard to do. But if you've got community that you can fall back on, or you can say, all right, y'all, I'm finna go in there and talk. I'm finna go in there and say my piece. If you've got those people who can say, you got this, go with it. You got it. I'm gonna be right here when you come out. That is worth its weight in gold and then some. So do not go straight to reclaiming your time. Make sure you have that community. Make sure you have reckoned with the fact that shit's not fair. Because I don't want you to go in somewhere, fists on the table saying, I demand that you, whoa, you may end up without a job. Which may be fine. Maybe you'd be like, fuck these people. I don't want this job, no way. But just chill for a little bit. Reckon, celebrate community, and then reclaim. Now, if what it needs to be is going in there and telling people I don't need this job, I support you. But I just want you to make sure that you have done everything you need to do to make sure you're going to be okay after you leave that space. So, reckoning, celebration, reclamation. So when we reckon, I want you to take stock. Realize where we are right now. This is not the time to be completely apathetic. This is the time to care for self. Yes, let them lie in the beds that they've made. But we can't simply ignore what's happening around us. We may not be standing at the front line of this fight anymore, but we need to be prepared for anything and understand that though we aren't fighting, it doesn't mean that we're not in the conflict. Okay? Start there with reckoning. Celebrate, baby. This is where you find your space and you thrive. Take these next days, months, years to find and make sure you are finding joy that gives you what you need. Find the joy that reminds you of who you are, why you're here, and what you bring to the table. Continue to go to those places where you are celebrated and not just tolerated. Because honestly, tolerance is the bare minimum, and they can fuck off with that. So, and reclamation. Didn't Auntie Maxine just tell us? Reclaim your time. This is the time to reclaim that community, to get into spaces where we can enjoy who we are, where we can be recharged, watch TV with and by Black and marginalized leads, find Black community, get into a space where you put yourself and your community first, because at the end of the day, all we have is community. I mean that. All we have is community. Reclaim your peace in this country. And I don't mean just stand tall in the face of all of this nonsense. I mean, reclaim your peace. Reclaim it. It's yours. No one gave it to you, and no one can take it from you. You have just as much right to peace, to life, to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as anyone else. And I do not want you to forget that. One of my favorite Janelle sayings, we come in peace, but we mean business. We come in peace, but we mean business. We come in peace, but we mean business. Understand that. Don't let these people play in your face. Show up in peace, but remind them that you mean business. So, the conversation does not have to be over. It doesn't have to be over because, again, like I said, this is what I love to do. I love to have these conversations. Brave New World comes out next week. No, Marvel is not paying me for this. Not next week, next month. Marvel is not paying me for this yet. So, Marvel is not paying me for this yet. But I want you all to know Brave New World comes out next month. And I would love it if we could show up for Anthony Mackie and this team as much as we did for Ryan Coogler, Chadwick Boseman, and all of them for Black Panther. I think it's necessary to show them, again, that these movies have audiences that want to see them. We want to see a Black America fucking finally. We deserve it. So, because I'm so excited about that movie, I have got a series of 3 webinars that we will be making some announcements about coming up pretty soon. We're going to talk about super soldier serum. We're going to talk about what it is to be Black and to see a Captain America who looks like us, because as a mother to a Black son, that's important to me. And as a Black comic book fan, that's important to me. And then I'm going to end it with a Q&A with a panel of blurs who are some people that I love very much. If you've been to the panel that I spoke on about X-Men or about Supercell, we've got some really good people who love Blackness and love nerddom. So stay tuned for that, because there will be some information coming in about that, about this 3-part series that I'm going to do leading up to Captain America Brave New World, so that when you get in there and you can see it, you're not going to be looking around like, but who's that? But who's that? But what's that? Because I promise you, I did that one time going to see Black Panther. I took someone uninitiated and she was talking the whole time, and I almost left her back outside, but I couldn't do that because I invited her to come with me. So I was trying to make sure that you are not that person, because I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. So again, if you are interested in still talking about Sam Wilson, what it is to be Black, Captain America, what it is to be Black in America, all this stuff, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I want to have these conversations because they are so very necessary. So do we have any questions, comments? If you would like to unmute yourself, you may. We have a few minutes for a Q&A or a talk back, kickback. So if you would like to unmute yourself, go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you real quick. I appreciate this so much and needed to hear this today, especially. And I will be booking my babysitter and pre-ordering my movie tickets for a little date night to go see Brave New World.
So Shayla, thank you for coming, number one. Number two, I don't know if they're doing it in Canada, but I just found last night that AMC is doing a fan event on the 13th. So the day before it officially drops, and they're giving out keychains. I mean, the keychains aren't super great, but they're keychains and it's free, and free is nice. And Ocean Spray has a whole thing where if you buy 2 things of cranberry juice or whatever cranberries illegitimate children are in juices, then you can get $10 off your movie ticket from Fandango. So y'all might want to look into that.
Hey Liz, I just also wanted to say, this is Marisa. I just wanted to say thank you. I'm super emotional.
Oh,
That was definitely what I needed this morning. Thank you for making this space. Appreciate you so much. And everybody in this space. Thank you for sharing it. I love you.
Is it okay for me to speak?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say I'm not really a superhero fan. I'm more a fan of anything that comes from your text, Liz. You kind of uplift me on so many levels, but because you told me to go to this, my jaw dropped. Might become a superhero fan. Learned so much. My gosh, you've got tears in my eyes. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I am also excited for the movie. I have my own thoughts and I'll save those. I don't want y'all to have to worry about me going into full on superhero talk today, more than I already have. But I'm excited about the movie. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with it. I don't really fully know why we needed a Red Hulk when we haven't even seen enough of the Green Hulk, but that enough of that. But I don't know why Sam couldn't just have his own movie. Like they got 18 villains in this piece. Like I don't know why he couldn't just have his own film, but you know, what's gonna happen is gonna happen. So before you all go, I mean, you are welcome to unmute yourselves if you would like to, or drop a question in the chat. If you do not want to speak out, drop a question, comment, concern, quandary, anything in the chat, whatever you would like. But I want to thank you all for coming. And if you would please leave me a review, either on Facebook or Google. The QR codes are on your screen to make it very easy for you to do. But these reviews help other people to learn about the fun that I have when I do these and the fun that I invite you all to join me on. If you have learned something about this, if you have learned something about yourself, about community, about Captain America, about superhero movies, about Marvel, if it made you think about something, if you learned about Janelle Monáe, anything like that, feel free to leave us a review, please. Other things that we have going on in addition to the in addition to the webinars that are coming up for Brave New World, we currently have space in our text club. We have a text club where you can get daily or weekly texts from us, depending on the tier that you choose. It starts at free, so you don't have to pay anything. Of course, you can pay if you want more text, but that is a free space of community, because again, finding that community is incredibly important. Kelly has dropped the link in the chat. But it is important for us to find community, and that is something that we have created there. Not just community, but encouragement, affirmations, laughs, jokes, all kinds of things that we have in our text club. We really enjoy. I love the text club. It's one of my favorite things to cultivate and to have going. So I invite you to join that as well. We even have a specific tier just for Black women. And that one comes with its own Facebook community, and it comes with videos and live Q&As weekly and bi-weekly. So we have lots of things going on over there. But I hope to see you all in February when we start our Brave New World webinars. And I hope that you all come back after you have seen the movie, so we can talk about it. We can talk about what has changed in your view of who Sam Wilson was and who he is as a fully fleshed Captain America, because I think there's something to be said about that. So, all right, you all, do not think that just because we are leaving this space, you have to walk back into that nonsense that is doom scrolling. Protect your peace today. Please, please protect your peace. Please, please. Please protect your peace. Just because we're leaving here doesn't mean you have to wade into the muck and the miry clay. Okay? Please protect your peace. I love you all so much. Thank you for joining me today. And I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful day.